Did you ever hear someone and forget what they said right after you spoke with them? It means you weren't really listening. We've all done it. Fortunately, we've all done it with God, too. Sometimes we're too busy to hear Him. We're not trying to ignore Him, it just happens. In today's reading, Abraham's wife Sarai was unable to have children, so her maid Hagar became a surrogate mother for them. After she became pregnant, Sarai began mistreating Hagar, so she ran away. Always listening for God's response, Hagar has been earnestly praying to God for help. After she runs away, she receives an answer. That's when the Lord's messenger comes to her and tells her to go back, and God will make her descendants so numerous there will be too many to count. The Lord's messenger also says, "You are now pregnant and shall bear a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard you." God has answered you. In Hebrew, the name Ishmael actually means God has heard, which is such a beautiful expression of God's love and concern for her. So whenever she looked at her son or said his name, she would remember how precious she is to God. However, if Hagar hadn't kept listening, she would have missed God's loving message. She might have died out in the desert, somewhere along with her unborn son. Today's song reminds us to reflect on the many blessings we've received from God. Think about a few as I read today's song. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His mercy endures forever. Who can tell the mighty deeds of the Lord or proclaim all His praises? Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. Today's gospel sounds harsh. Remember, Jesus is telling like it is to His disciples because serving God and us can only be done authentically when listening to God. Listen now to today's gospel. Jesus says to His disciples, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not drive out demons in your name? Did we not do mighty deeds in your name?' Then I will declare to them solemnly, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you evildoers.' Everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the wind blew and buffeted the house, but it did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not act on them will be like a fool who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and buffeted the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined." When Jesus finished these words, the crowds were astonished at His teaching, for He thought them as one having authority and not as their scribes. Hagar and the disciples listened and acted on the word of God. How do we become better listeners like them? In a word, prayer. Prayer will help us focus on the two greatest commandments that Jesus gave to us: to love God with our whole heart, with our whole soul, the whole mind, and the second, to love each other as we love ourselves. Remember, listening is a part of prayer too. After breakfast, lunch, and dinner, ask yourself, what is God trying to tell me through the people, the events, and the world around me? Ask and keep listening all day and all night long. Keep praying and listening like Hagar and the disciples, and you'll get your answer. God bless you. And be sure to take care of God's precious gift, you.